9-3. They're 2 strikes away from a win here in 2005 in Game 1.
I know that ain't who I think that is. Did we just get gifted a get-out-of-jail-free card? For all the misfortune that this Chicago White Sox team has had, we are now blessed. We have the Pope on our side. And that means there's only one way left to go. And that's up. As the Pope was given his new position inside of the conclave, before he went out on the balcony to the Vatican to see all those people watching him, he had 2 special requests to make. The first of which was to ask if his O-Block brethren, King Vaughn, could go up to heaven. The second request was for the White Sox to become good. But unfortunately, he can only have one of those 2 things happen. And Lord knows it will not be King Vaughn going to heaven. So that means, by default, the White Sox are going to turn it around, and that starts today. Here in the month of September, with the trade deadline now done, the offseason looming, likely in the next episode, unless God really wants to do us a solid, and have us go 29-0 and have a lot of things go our way to grab the final wildcard spot. Probably not going to happen, though, but now that we have the Pope on our side, we cannot rule it out. So last episode, of course, was the trade deadline. There's a lot of moves from us in the transaction log because I made a lot of moves across the league, and we had to be the mediator to get all those done. Is mediator a word? I don't know. But basically, we made 2 actual moves. The big one being Kyle Schwarber, Miguel Vargas, and Garrett Shanley to the Mets for Luis Angel Acuna and Danny Young, while also trading Joe Ross to the Yankees for Bailey D's nuts in my face. A few people seem to think that the Mets kind of got ripped off with this, but Kyle Schwarber is first for the NL MVP with 1 month to go. Now, granted, Pete Alonso, who they traded away as part of our deal, is in third. But Kyle Schwarber's a major upgrade for Pete Alonso. His WAR since the start of this series is only .6. Alonso is more expensive in the short term. He's a free agent in the offseason, whereas at least Kyle Schwarber has an option to get out of his contract. And Schwarber's just all around a better player. He has much more command of the strike zone. Luis Robert is not currently in the MVP race, but he should be in there. He's second in AL WAR, only behind Jose Ramirez, who's at 8.1. He has a chance to get up to 10 in the final month of the year, which is insane. But nobody else in the AL has been more valuable than Luis Robert, who we made the decision to keep rather than trade away at the deadline. And the reason is I feel like he's too good to move off of. And I think it's in our best interest to try to work out an extension with him. We've got a whole season to convince Jerry Reinsdorf that paying him is the correct move because he's one of the most complete players in baseball. He's an elite power hitter, elite contact, Gold Glover in center field most likely. This is not the type of player you trade away. This is the type of player you build around because he does not come around every day. I'm excited about September because we're going to be able to call up some guys from the minor leagues. I'm looking to call up some of our better prospects, give them an opportunity in the big leagues here through the final month of the year. We can't do it yet because we technically do have 1 more series to go through in August against Baltimore. We recently put Hayden Wisniewski in the rotation. His first start did not go well. He allowed 8 runs in a third of an inning in a game that we lost 23-4. And that really is the peak of our current 9-game losing streak that we're going to be looking to snap off of against the Athletics. After the A's, we will travel to Baltimore to face off against the Orioles, and I think that's when we're going to be able to extend the roster from 26 to 28 and bring up some of the younger guys within the system. Most of our September schedule is against teams in the division, and every single team we play against in September is currently above 500. Not to mention, we've gotten hammered by injuries. Most recently, Hagen Smith fractured his arm. The standout rookie's season comes to an abrupt end after 19 starts in a game against the Giants. It's crazy that he was not even a finalist for the Rookie of the Year. He'd probably be in first place in the NL, but he's not even on the list for the American League. So we're first going to get through this series against the Athletics, and then we're going to call some guys up. We're going to get to see the wheel after not having the wheel in the last episode. But we'll start here with the first game against the A's as Luis Angel Acuna pops this one behind the plate. That one will be caught for the second out of the inning. Tying run is on, winning run is at the plate, and it is Luis Robert. The problem is Mason Miller is on the bump, one of the best closers in the game, as it's a grounder to third on the first pitch. They will send it to second as the Athletics win the first of 3 here in Chicago. They take it by the final score of 5-4. Not a bad game offensively, and we did get more base runners than they did. 10 hits to just 7. They didn't have any walks either. They just scored pretty much everybody who they got on, headlined by a 3-run homer by Colby Thomas. No one went deep for us, but a well-rounded effort. Akil Baddoo went 2 for 2 with 3 walks. Bailey Falter was okay. Bullpen did fine, as that brings us to the second game. 2-1 in the bottom of the 10th. We got 6 technically scoreless innings for Drew Thorpe, as Colson Montgomery checks his swing, went around against Mason Miller again. 103 miles an hour, good lord. Luis Robert working a long at bat. The count is full, and he belts this one into right field. It is caught. We are going to send the runner over to third. I figured there wasn't really going to be a play, so we might as well, and sure enough, he is safe. That's Emmanuel Rivera. So that'll bring up Brian Ramos. Runners on the corners, tying run 90 feet away from home. Winning run is at first. We'll see what Ramos can do against Miller as he gets plunked on the kneecap. Hey, that'll do. Winning run moves to scoring position. The problem is bases are now loaded. Matt Theis is up. I thought about a pinch hitter. We're going to keep him in, and he strikes out on 3 pitches. 101 blows right by him as the Athletics win the second game by the score of 2-1. Another competitive matchup here in 10 innings. Luis Angel Acuna leads the way. He had 2 doubles. Good to see the extra base power for the youngster, although he was the only player on our team with an extra base hit. 6 innings, 1 unearned run allowed by Drew Thorpe. The other run was also not earned since it was in the extra innings. Kyle Teal's been dinged up. He is back, which is exciting. He's played well over his last few games. He still only has 1 home run since June, though. Looking to avoid the sweep, I guess we're going to play all 3 games in this series. The bases are loaded. Clayton Kershaw is on the bump against Luis Angel Acuna, working now an 8-pitch at bat. 3-2. Sharp liner to third. It's caught. Everybody quickly gets back to their bases. 100 off the bat. He hit it well, but a good defensive play, as that'll bring up Romeo Sanabria. Bases loaded. 2 away. 2-2. Ooh, that's a good take. Looked like it hit the edge of the strike zone, but Sanabria, who made his big league debut in the last episode, lets that one go by. Count is full. Runners go up the middle. That one will get by for a base hit. 1 run scores, looking to make it 2. Runner at third is out. The second run at home did score first. That one will count. It's a 2-run single for Romeo Sanabria, and the game is tied at 5. So we do end up making a play there with the bases loaded, as that'll bring us bottom 9. Kendall Graveman is now in. 2 runners on, 1 away for Colson Montgomery, who's obviously had a rough year this season. I've decided we're just going to keep him in the big leagues the rest of the year, let him go through his growing pains, as that is a fair ball! Down the line and right! Rounding third, headed home, Rivera is safe! And the White Sox walk it off 6-5. Colson Montgomery is the hero, and Chicago avoids the sweep against the Athletics. Colson Montgomery 2 for 4 with a walk-off winner against Kendall Graveman, although it's Kershaw who ends up taking the loss. He only allowed 1 earned run, even though we brought 2 to score with Sanabria. 5 runs, 11 hits for the A's. Colby Thomas goes deep again. Solid start from Osvaldo Bido. We only had 7 hits, but we did have 6 walks. Plenty of base runners, only singles. That's all we needed. Not a great start, though, from Noah Schultz, as that brings us to the final game of the month. Andrew Monasterio has homered twice, and he's got a chance for 3. Monasterio is not homered all year, yet he has homered twice in this game. How is that possible? His OPS has risen like 50 points in this one game, which is pretty remarkable, and we're probably going to get 2 chances to do it in a tie game, no less, as he hits it well into center. That one will be caught, though. Luckily, we will get one more opportunity in the top of the 9th, and it's a big spot because we're down 5-4. Jackson Holiday brings home the potential go-ahead run, and Monasterio chases the high heat from Felix Bautista. He thought that pitch was going to curve in. Not quite. Monasterio's got some of the best plate discipline in the league, but even he chases that one as the O's win this game 5-4. It's not fun facing off against Felix Bautista and Mason Miller. We got to use Bautista in the Giants series last year. We only had him for a couple of months, but the guy was a demon. And now we're on the other side of it. So we start the episode 1 and 3. We ended up hopping into each of the first 4 games. And I stop here because this is where we get into the month of September. It's September call-ups time. We're going to get to bring up 2 guys from the minor leagues. And I want to bring up 2 of our better prospects. Get some of these potential young long-term building blocks, some big league reps, and potentially a first impression to make the roster next year. I've been hinting on calling up Edgar Quero for a while. I've been wanting to do it really since May. And it feels like this is finally the right time to do it. He's played well over his last 10 games, hitting .306. He's been disappointing, though, in AAA, only hitting .230 this year, only 4 homers. But why not get him up for the next month or so, see what he can do against big league pitching, as he will rotate with Kyle Teel. He's going to DH, though, a lot as well. And then the second spot, I'm going to go with Jagger Haynes, who has been on fire over the last 2 months. He's been one of the best pitchers in minor league baseball since July, and he's been good overall this year. But over his last 10, he's been ridiculous. Sub-2 ERA, sub-1 whip. We, of course, got him from the Bryce Wilson trade with San Diego. Wilson, of course, as we know, was suspended for PEDs, although he's actually had a really good year this year since coming back. So he's going to take Hayden Wisniewski's spot in the rotation. Wisniewski's second start was not a whole lot better than his first. As for the lineup, as I mentioned, we're going to play Edgar Quero every day. There's no reason not to give him as many reps as possible, especially considering his numbers are pretty even against righties and lefties. So what we're going to do is, against righties, he's going to DH because Kyle Teel is the catcher spot. He's too good defensively to not play at catcher. But since Teel doesn't really play against lefties, Quero will catch against lefties, and he will bat 5th. So Edgar Quero is going to make his debut here in this game against the Orioles. But before that, this is where we're going to do our wheel spins. And I say spins plural because we're going to do 2 today, since we did not have one in the last episode. No, it's not that I completely forgot to do it. It's just that we have brain farts every once in a while. So the first one I'm going to do is Colson Montgomery because, well, he needs it pretty badly. He obviously has not played well at all in the big league, so I figure maybe the wheel can give him a little boost for the final month of the year and give him a little bit of momentum going into next year. And then we're going to do Drew Thorpe as well. We haven't given him a spin this season, and he's been a little inconsistent over the month of August, really the summer as a whole. And we need him to be consistent because we're investing a lot of money into him after signing him to a 5-year, $77.5 million extension in the last episode, one of the biggest contracts in the history of the White Sox, which is more so kind of sad than anything. So we're going to start with Colson Montgomery. Hopefully this can give him a boost for the final month of the year, try to set him up a little bit for next year and beyond. So we're going to spin that wheel for Montgomery. We'll see what we land on. And we are going to get swinging for the fences, minus 20 contact, plus 20 power. That is an interesting one. His average is already so low to begin with. It's not like it can get that much lower. So at least he's going to have some home run power. I guess it's a win, although he might literally hit 100. As for Drew Thorpe, we'll see what we land on with him, and his spin is a pretty simple one. Light work. All stats go up by 1, including potential. So we'll take that. A win is a win. It's not a big boost for Thorpe, but it is something. So Colson Montgomery's game is going to change a little bit. Instead of not being able to hit for contact or power, he's going to hit for even less contact somehow. But his power will go up, and his rating actually goes up as well, even though I think contact is more important in this game. But he'll be a 78 for the final month of the year. As for Drew Thorpe, he will go up by 1 in everything. So he is now an 84. His potential is now an 89, nearly an A. So both of them get their wheel spins. I'm fascinated to see how Montgomery plays over the last month of the year. And that gets us set for this next game against Baltimore, which is the big league debut for Edgar Quero, who's one of the premier prospects in our farm system. And at this point, most of the high-end prospects who we started the series with have debuted. I would say there were 6 guys at the start of this series who I really had my eye on. Of course, Kyle Teel made his debut early last year. Colson Montgomery and Noah Schultz joined him. This year, Hagen Smith made his debut, and now we're just down to 2. Edgar Quero, who will be making his debut today, and then Braden Montgomery, who the plan is we're going to have him make his debut probably at some point next year, although sometimes plans don't always go to plan. Hint, hint. Quero is currently the 3rd-ranked prospect in our system, the 2nd-ranked catching prospect in baseball, although I don't think these rankings are great. I would say the FanGraph rankings is more accurate. Like Sal Casey, for instance, is not the 10th best prospect in baseball. I certainly don't see him as the best prospect in the system, even though he does have nice upside. Caro, Escobedo, Cosmo, I would say those guys are 1, 2, and 3 as of right now. Maybe Braden Montgomery grouped with them as well. So Caro will be the DH, and he will bat 8th, facing off against Zach Gallen. That is certainly not an easy start for Caro's career. Gallen's first year with the Orioles has been a pretty solid one after being signed in the offseason from Arizona. 2-run homer by Jesus Sanchez in the previous at-bat. So we're up 2-0 early. Caro up with one away in the top of the second. We'll show the entirety of the first at-bat as the first pitch is a cutter outside. Caro takes it for ball 1. Caro has solid plate skills, and again, his contact and power is pretty much equal against righties and lefties. A true switch hitter as he fouls off the 93-mile-an-hour fastball. He did time that one up pretty well. The count is even at 1. Caro had a great season last year in Double-A. Not so good this year in Triple-A as he whiffs on the knuckle curve. That pitch had a ton of movement, and Caro now finds himself behind in the count, 1-2. Following pitch from Gallen is in. Another knuckle curve does not fool Caro this time. And the count evens up at 2-2. Following pitch on the way. This one is hit well. Deep into right field. Go ball go! At the track, at the wall. It is caught. Damn, we were that close. We were inches away for Caro's first big league at bat to be a home run. Yeah, he is not too thrilled with that result as it's now 3-1. Jesus Sanchez has driven in all 3 runs today. He brings one in off a sac fly. Caro up 1-0, pops it into right. Not quite as much carry as the last one, as Mike Trout is under it to make the play. We'll move forward now into the top half of the 6th. 6-6. We were up 5-1. Homers for Baddoo and Montgomery, but we have completely blown it. Who's surprised? First pitch from Tyler Wells is outside. It is 1-0. Caro's got 2 runners on base, so a quick response after the disastrous 5th inning as we're working a nice at-bat. The count is now full. And Caro gets a piece of it into center. This one's got a chance at the track. It is gone! 3-run homer for Edgar Caro. His first big league hit is a 3-run shot here at Camden Yards. He nearly started his big league career with a homer, so he makes sure this one gets over the fence a couple of at-bats later. And the White Sox lead it 9-6. Caro only hit 4 home runs all year in Triple-A. He's got 1 here in his debut, and he nearly had another. Had to make sure that one would have enough as it just scrapes over the fence in center field. Chicago back ahead as Caro returns to the dugout. It looks like he is getting the silent treatment. Oh, there we go. Now they're going to celebrate. Hopefully the first of many home runs in a White Sox uniform for Caro, a guy who we are certainly very excited about long term. Mike Trout cuts the lead a little bit. It's 9-7. Ronzi Contreras on the mound now for Baltimore. Caro still hitting from the left side as he swings at the first pitch into center. That one does not have a ton of carry, and it will be caught as Acuna will quickly hustle back to first. Not a bad debut, though, for Caro. 1 for 4, the 3-run shot. Kobe Mayo hits an RBI double, but the homer by Caro really ends up being the difference. And, of course, he nearly had 2 homers. His first at-bat just a few inches away in right field. It unfortunately did not drop, but we did get it later in the ballgame. Great performance from both offenses. The Orioles had 17 hits. We ended up with only 10, but we were able to drive in our runners. We were better with runners on base, which is a rarity for this team. Jesus Sanchez led the way. He drove in 3. Luis Angel Acuna reached base 4 times, 2 hits, 2 walks, 3 runs. Caro, of course, had the 3-run homer, one of our 5 lawn balls as a team. Not a great start from Owen White. He got rocked in the 5th inning. The Orioles hit off of him well. Mostly singles for them, no homers, while Zach Gallen did not have a great start. Bullpen was certainly not great either. So a good win, fun showing for Caro's debut. Next up is Jagger Haynes' debut. He will play this 3rd game in Yankee Stadium against the Yankees, so we will sim up to there as we start with this game against Baltimore. Colson Montgomery has homered again. Maybe the power helped him, clearly. 2 on, now 2 away as Emmanuel Rivera strikes out, tied at 6. who can win this game and win this series, as it is Colson Montgomery up to bat, and he goes down on the 102-mile-an-hour fastball. The Orioles would end up walking it off. Mike Trout would be the hero, as the O's would win it 7-6 with an RBI single to finish off the job. I like seeing Colson Montgomery playing well, though. Homers in back-to-back games, the power clearly making an impact, and the average is going up. He had another base hit in this game as well. Bailey Falter with a good start, and the bullpen completely blew it. Looks like we led this game 6-0 going into the bottom of the 7th, and then it completely fell apart. That brings us here to this series against the Yankees. Scoreless in the top of the 9th. Drew Thorpe and Carlos Rodon with 7 scoreless. We've got 2 on, 2 away in the top of the 9th. A full count for Colson Montgomery. The 8th pitch of the at-bat is belted fair down the left field line. Jason Dominguez misplays it, and that should score both runs. The second run comes across safe. It's a 2-run double for Colson Montgomery. We've got runs, people. So I thought I was player locking Montgomery. That's why I did not have the 2 runners go with the full count and the 2 outs. But Dominguez completely misplaying the ball kind of offsets it, as Kirk Cousins' cousin, Jake Cousins, is into the game. Say that 5 times fast in a row. So we've got a runner in scoring position for Jesus Sanchez, who belts this one up the middle. Montgomery rounds third, heads home. He is safe, and it's 3-0. That wheel spin may have unironically saved Colson Montgomery. I wish we could keep these ratings. He's a different man with the power boost. Akil Baddoo grounds it over to first. Yankees will make the play. But our big 9th inning ends up being the difference, as Penn Murphy would get the save, and the White Sox end up winning this game 3-0 on the back of a phenomenal performance from Drew Thorpe, going 7 scoreless. Ironic being that Drew Thorpe started his career with the Yankees as a prospect. They traded him to San Diego in the Juan Soto deal, and then we got him a few months later in the Dylan Cease deal. And it's kind of fitting that Carlos Rodon threw the 7 scoreless innings for the Yankees, given that he had all those seasons here in Chicago with the White Sox. Certainly not a great offensive game, but when we needed offense, we got it. Thorpe only allowed 1 hit and 2 walks. Thorpe has been so inconsistent since the All-Star break. He's had some unbelievable starts, and then he's had some bad ones. I think we might play every game in today's episode, but every game we've hopped into is close. Tied at 1, top 7, bases loaded for Emmanuel Rivera, who goes down on the slider from Ian Hamilton, who we had towards the end of the Giants series. He was quite good for us there. We're going to hop in a little bit later now. Brian Ramos makes it 2-1 with a solo shot, and now Danny Young will look to get us out of the bottom of the 8th. There's 2 runners on base, 1 away for Jazz Chisholm, who is historically a good clutch hitter, but it is a lefty-on-lefty matchup. Young is a good clutch pitcher, and Jazz puts it on the ground. Ramos to Monasterio, over to first. It's Rivera, 4-6-3 double play. Jazz thought he was safe, does not get the call, and the White Sox would take 2 to start the series here against the Yankees. We would add some insurance as Andrew Monasterio gets an RBI double. 7 innings of 1-run ball for Noah Schultz. He was fantastic here in the win. Our young pitchers are playing really well against a good Yankee lineup in a Little League park, no less. 7 innings of 1 hit ball for Thorpe. 7 innings of 1-run ball for Noah Schultz. And now we'll see what we get out of Jagger Haynes. And he's got a lot riding on this game because the magic number for us to be eliminated is 1. If we lose this game, we are out. So, no pressure, kid, but our playoff hopes, if you can even call them hopes, really, are on the line. We'll see what we can get from Haynes, a 5th-round pick in the 2020 draft, one of the youngest players selected that year. He has grinded his way through the minors over the last 6 seasons, and after being traded in the offseason for Bryce Wilson, Haynes has had a really good year for us in AAA and is ready to rock. Here is a member of the starting rotation for the final month of the year, where he will likely start probably 5 or 6 games. Haynes is a well-rounded lefty, solid size, solid stuff, and he really doesn't have many major weaknesses to his game, and this is essentially an audition for him to look to make the rotation next year. It's not going to be easy, given that we're already kind of stacked with lefties. Noah Schultz, Hagen Smith, both likely to be in the rotation next year, you would think. So Cody Bellinger gets us started, puts it on the ground over to second. Luis Angel Acuna makes the play, and Jagger Haynes retires the first batter he sees. It'll bring up Anthony Volpe now, who is behind 1-2. Haynes, the pitch on the way. Got him on the changeup. First career strikeout for Jagger Haynes. We're getting a lot of firsts today, with many of these younger guys getting their first big league opportunities. Now Haynes gets to meet off against maybe the best hitter in baseball. 2-2 for Aaron Judge, who swings out of his shoes on the inside fastball. What a pitch by Haynes against the guy in Judge who walks more than just about anybody. You do not see him usually making mistakes like that. Jazz Chisholm, another lefty, leads off the bottom of the second, and he gets fooled by the changeup. Jagger Haynes is making these veteran all-star hitters look foolish. 3 straight strikeouts for the southpaw. It'll bring up the switch hitter, Jason Dominguez, and he goes down on the fastball. 4 in a row for Jagger Haynes, who still is not a lot of base runner yet. He has been unhittable. Austin Wells is now up, and he swings at the slider far outside to make the count 1-2. Jagger Haynes looks unstoppable right now. It's whiff after whiff after whiff. 1-2, swing and a miss on the changeup. 5 straight strikeouts for Jagger Haynes. This might be the most impressive start to a career for a pitcher I've ever seen. I know it's only 2 innings, but holy moly, he looks good. Into the third, Spencer Jones leads things off, and he sends this one into left field. Finally, the Yankees get a hit. The first batter since the leadoff hitter, Cody Bellinger, did not strike out. And it's ironic because Spencer Jones might have the highest strikeout rate in the league. His plate vision rating is at like 20. Yet, of course, he's the guy who actually puts the bat to the ball. Carlos De La Cruz now sends it into right. That goes for a single. Rule 5 draft pick of the Nationals. He's been actually quite impactful for the Yankees. He's amongst the American League leaders in triples, despite being a first baseman who's not overly fast. And this is not exactly a triple-friendly park, given how small it is. Oswaldo Cabrera goes down on the fastball in the dirt. Haynes, back to his strikeout ways, still has to get out of the jam here with runners on the corners, 1 away for the top of the order. Cody Bellinger crushes it into right field, and he gives Haynes a warm welcome to the majors. 3-run shot for Bellinger. That would not be a home run in a lot of other ballparks. But since we're in a Mickey Mouse Little League stadium, Cody Bellinger has other plans. As Haynes severely mislocated the slider there, he'll look to get back to business as he strikes out his 7th batter. It's Anthony Volpe. 3-1 now for Aaron Judge. Don't want to give him anything too good, as Judge does not swing at the inside fastball this time. He will take it for ball 4. First walk allowed by Jagger Haynes. Jazz Chisholm into right center. Baddoo chases after it. He makes the play. So Haynes strikes out 2 more, but he allows 4 runners. 3 hits, a walk, and a 3-run shot for Cody Bellinger. We're not getting a lot out of the offense. Only 1 hit so far as the Yankees lead it 3-0. We're going to keep Haynes in for a couple more innings. Jason Dominguez up the middle, hits it sharply, but Luis Angel Acuna will make the play for the first out of the inning. The Yankees are not hitting the ball that often, but when they're hitting it well. Austin Wells, hey, speaking of, get it? No, that was horrible. Single into center field, the Yankees with another base runner. That'll bring up Spencer Jones, who started the rally in the third. Pops it up in a foul territory. Baddoo chases after it, and he will make the play right on the line for the second out of the inning. Haynes' velo is starting to dip just a little bit. We've got to be cautious there. 2-2 for De La Cruz. Hit over to third. Brian Ramos makes the play, and certainly a much better 4th inning for Jagger Haynes. Even though he didn't strike anybody out here, he only lets up 1 hit and no runs, as that will bring us into the 5th. The offense would finally start to get rolling here as we would actually load the bases. But even in the Simcast, we cannot do anything with the bases loaded. And we had 2 chances as well. We do not do anything either opportunity. Oswaldo Cabrera strikes out to lead off the bottom of the 5th. Punch out number 8 for Jagger Haynes. Back to the top of the order. Cody Bellinger, 3-run homer back in the 3rd off of Haynes. As this one is hit over to short. Andrew Monasterio fields it cleanly. Throw to first is in time. Good hustle by Bellinger, but not quite fast enough. As that brings up Anthony Volpe, who goes down on the fastball. That'll likely do it for Jagger Haynes' big league debut. 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, 3 earned, 9 punch-outs. If not for the homer by Bellinger, which again would not have been a homer at any other park, we would be looking at Haynes' debut as a very successful one. On a pitch-by-pitch basis, he was really good, I think. Oh, well, look who's in the game. It's Joe Ross coming in for the Yankees in the top of the 6th. His ERA still in the mid-5s. Anthony Volpe would hit a solo homer as the Yankees end up winning this game 4-0. No, we will not go into the Bronx and sweep New York, unfortunately. Jagger Haynes' big league debut ends with him getting the loss, and although the numbers are not going to look spectacular, again, if you really paid attention and watched, you would certainly know that this was a really promising debut. 9 strikeouts for Haynes, nearly a 50% strikeout rate in his big league debut. That certainly will not continue to hold up, but I was impressed. I thought he looked really good, and if he does not mislocate the slider against Bellinger, again, we'd be looking at this debut totally different. So unfortunately, it is official. The Pope will not be blessing us with a World Series run. We are eliminated here in Season 2 as we're going to simulate through these next few weeks. We've played in every game so far in this episode. Can we maybe not have every game down to the wire? Kind of want to play one of these home games against Cleveland. I think that's going to be our target. Our next 4 series after the set against the Yankees are all in the division. Tigers, Twins, Guardians, and White Sox. We get to play everyone. Akil Baddoo with a 2-homer game against his former team, and he might need another one to keep things alive as he hits it up the middle. Not a homer, but it does go for a base hit off of my glorious Pookie Bear King, Tyler Holton. Unfortunately, his teammates would not drive him in, and the Tigers, who are fighting for first place in the best division in baseball by far, win it 6-4. Going into this series, I said the AL Central is underrated and could prove to be a challenge. I mean, obviously, we haven't been in the division race, but we have 3 legit World Series contenders in the AL Central, and then the Royals are no slouch either. They are as good as a 4th-place team as you'll find. Trey Cruz goes deep twice for Detroit, his first 2 homers of the year. Colson Montgomery homers again. This was a Jagger Haynes start as well, 5 innings, 4 earned. Not his best, and we would end up getting swept in 4 games by the Tigers. Now against Minnesota, scoreless into the 9th. Brooks Lee rips this one into the gap, and that has a chance to score both of the runners on base as it rolls all the way to the warning track. A 2-run double for Brooks Lee, and the Twins make it a 2-0 game. I'm sure Detroit, Minnesota, and Cleveland are all very pleased that they play us here at the end of the year, knowing that they need all the wins they can get. Runner's going to make it over to third. It's a wild pitch against the front runner for the AL Rookie of the Year, Emmanuel Rodriguez, who looks to be one of baseball's bright young stars. Count is even now 2-2, and he goes down on the sinker. Good pitch by Penn Murphy, who we're keeping in the game here, despite allowing the big double to Brooks Lee. That'll bring up Brendan Rodgers now. He won the World Series MVP in Season 2 of the Giants series. I'm sure Minnesota is hoping that fate will be repeated here as he flies out to center field. It is caught by Luis Robert. We'll see if the offense can get anything rolling. Our offense has really struggled over the last week or so, and unfortunately they would not. A shutout here against Minnesota as the Twins win this game by the score of 2-0. We had a pretty good outing pitching-wise, but Minnesota pitched a little bit better. Chris Paddock, who Minnesota got at the trade deadline from St. Louis, ends up going 6 scoreless, only let up 3 hits. Manuel Rivera got on base twice, the rest of the team once, and we wasted a 7-inning gem from Bailey Falter. After winning the last game against the Yankees, we've lost 7 in a row. Swept by Detroit, swept by Minnesota, although we did rock Bailey Ober, who didn't even get out of the second inning. Bailey Ober is really good. He's made the All-Star game in back-to-back years. Yet, for whatever reason, I think we own him. Kyle Teal homers, drove in 4 runs. Drew Thorpe had a pretty mediocre start. Teal also homered in this game against the Yankees, so I feel like his power is kind of coming back. Granted, it's a Yankee Stadium home run. It doesn't really count, but he got one in our stadium, which does count. Now against the Guardians, Brian Ramos, a triple shy of the cycle. And if anyone's going to do it, it would be Brian Ramos, who has 10 triples this year, I think, which is tied for the lead in the American League. Against Sam Hentges, he's ahead 2-1. That is not a triple, but it is a 4th base hit as he singles into right field. And the White Sox would snap the losing streak as they win this game over the Cleveland Guardians by the score of 8-2. Kyle Teal and Akil Baddoo would add to our run total. So a good win here. The offense has kind of struggled as of recent, although we did have the 7-run game against Minnesota. Brian Ramos, of course, leads the way. He had 4 hits. Luis Robert played quite well, too. He now has 103 RBIs. 5 innings, 2 earned runs from Noah Schultz. Pretty solid start, whereas Shane Bieber was not as good. The following game, Akil Baddoo, broken arm, another season-ending injury for us. Jonathan Cannon got injured as well, so he will not be the guy replacing Baddoo on the roster. I decided to go for another one of our top prospects. I thought about Oswaldo Escobedo. I thought about Jacob Gonzalez. But I think we're going to go with Braden Montgomery. I hinted at it earlier in the episode, but we're going to let him up in the big leagues for the last 2 months of the year. Montgomery has only played 3 games above AA, so this is going to be a big jump in competition for him. But he has played really well as of recent, and I figure, what's the worst that can happen? Why not have him up for the last couple of weeks? So he'll play every day. He will rotate around in the outfield, and he will make his debut here in Cleveland against the 92-60 Cleveland Guardians, who, of course, are fighting with Minnesota and to a slightly lesser extent Detroit for first place in the AL Central. And chances are the winner of our division not only will get the number 1 seed, but will probably finish with the best record in all of baseball. The White Sox, meanwhile, 57-95. It is looking likely that we will have another triple-digit loss season unless we play really well over the final 10 games. Braden Montgomery will be making his big league debut. He'll be playing in left field today. The switch hitter will mostly be batting from the right side, as it'll be Joey Cantillo, a lefty. Braden Montgomery is a lot more comfortable against right-handed pitching, so this is not entirely ideal, but oh well, what can you do? Brian Ramos, RBI single. He has played very well as of late, and we're on the board early 1-0. First batter of the game for Chicago is Steven Kwan, so this is Montgomery's very first moments in the field, as he's going to track it down at the warning track and make the grab. Montgomery projects really nicely defensively. He's got good range, good arm, good glove. I think he's going to be a really good defensive outfielder who can play any of the 3 spots as he gets his first at-bat here, top of the second, hitting in the 9-hole with a runner on and 1 away. Again, we'll show the entirety of the first at-bat as he looks at the inside circle change for ball 1. Good discipline. I think his plate skills are solid, but not great, as he looks at the high fastball for strike 1. The contact against lefties is really the big weakness for him, and going into this series, his contact against lefties was actually quite a bit higher than it was versus righties, but he just has not hit lefties well in the minors for whatever reason. So I have a hard time thinking he'll succeed at it early in the big leagues, but you never know. Finds himself behind in the count now, 1-2, and he fouls another one off. He's doing a good job of protecting. He thought that pitch was going to be a ball, but then realized he probably had to protect late. It was out of the zone, so he should have let it go, but does a good job of fouling it off, keeping the at-bat alive as he hits this one pretty well into center field. It's got a little carry, but it will be caught. Hit it pretty solid, though, for, again, being on the edge of the strike zone. Cantillo did not exactly give him easy pitches to hit. The 8th pitch of the at-bat here in the 5th is a walk. Really, really good AB. He worked the count. He waited until he got his pitch, and he didn't get it, so he'll take the walk. Sam Hench is now in the game, another lefty, as we lead 2-1 with an RBI single by Edgar Caro. First pitch of the at-bat. This one is crushed into right, and it is foul. Man, we were right there. Just like Edgar Caro nearly gets his first career homer, but it does not happen, and now BMO is behind in the count 0-2. But he gets a piece of it into right center, and it's got some carry. At the track, at the wall, it is off the wall! That should score the run. Montgomery safe into second base. An RBI double for Braden Montgomery. His first career hit, drives in a run. I thought his first career hit was going to be a homer as well. And in some parks, Yankee Stadium, that one would have been a no-doubter. But he'll take the double, brings home a run. He would end up scoring as well, as it's now 4-2, top 9. Another new pitcher, and again, it is a lefty, Colby Allard, as he pops it up. Might not even go a positive distance, right at home plate, as Bo Naylor makes the play. Pretty good debut, though, for Braden Montgomery, and what ends up being a 6-4 win. We blew it in the 9th, but we came back in the 10th. Montgomery goes 1 for 3 with a walk, an RBI double, and a run. Really productive day overall. He was good defensively as well, no mistakes. Edgar Quero led the charge, going 3 for 5. Edgar Quero is hitting .306. He had a really rough first week, but then ever since then, he has been mashing the baseball, which is exactly what we love to see. As that brings us to this series against the Royals. Quero 2 for 3 with a homer in a game that we lead 3-2. Kansas City is 2-1, nobody out for Jack Caglione, an AL Rookie of the Year finalist. He won't win, but he'll be in the top 3 as it's caught by Luis Robert. They will send the runner. Close call. He is safe. I would not have sent the runner. That was risky against maybe the best defensive outfielder in baseball this year, because that'll bring up Yoan Moncada. They'll go suicide squeeze, and it's going to work to perfection. We only get the 1 out at first base, so we can't double them up. And more so, Jonathan India scores, and the game is tied at 3. Runner on second for Ryan McMahon. This one is hit into left. Braden Montgomery chases after it, and he will make the play. So the Royals are unable to take the lead, and that would be their downfall. We win it. The hero ends up being, guess who? Edgar Quero, who homers for a second time to win us the game 4-3. Edgar Quero has been unbelievably good. He has homered 3 times in the last 2 games, while we had 6 innings of 2-run ball from Jagger Haynes, and we end up winning 2 games against the Royals. The first game, we got 1 hit. The second game, we scored 13 runs. I would say that is baseball in a nutshell. Luis Robert homers, Kyle Teal homers, and of course, as I mentioned, Edgar Quero homers. This is a really, really impressive stretch for the 22-year-old catcher. Some guys just hit better against Major League pitching. I'm not sure what it is, but he's facing off against the best pitching of his career, and he's put up the best numbers we've seen from him in this series. Our most recent win puts us at 60 on the year, so we will officially finish with more than last year. We have made progress. The AAA Knights finish 88-62, a really good season. They'll be playing the Clippers in the playoffs. That's Cleveland's AAA affiliate. And the AA Barons finish in dead last in the division for the second half of the year, but we won the division in the first half. We'll face off against the Smokies. So we'll go through the minor league playoffs in a little bit, but first, we're going to play this game against the Guardians. We have 6 games left this year, all of which are at home. Of course, we've got 3 against Cleveland, who has everything to play for, the division title and the number 1 seed, and then 3 at home against the Mariners. The big story for us has been this guy, and to put things in perspective, Edgar Quero has the same amount of home runs in the majors that he did in all of AAA this year, but to dig a little bit deeper, in 80 games in AAA this year, he had 4 homers. Over his last 2 games, he has 3. As we take a look at the lineups, and oftentimes, lineups in September can get kind of goofy, but our lineup looks really good. Much of the young core has made it up to the majors, and these are the guys who we're hoping we can build this thing around. They're all in the lineup together, really for the first time. Another guy who we're looking to build this thing around is Noah Schultz. The numbers are not the best, but given how well he's played since July, we feel good with him going forward. Newman on the ground. Nice play by Luis Angel Acuna. He was so fast getting to that ball, and that's why we really like him at shortstop. He's had his fair share of errors over the last couple of months, but he has more range than any of our infielders. Colson Montgomery has the best arm. That's why I think he projects best at third. He makes the throw to retire Jose Ramirez, who has a full 1.5 of WAR above anyone in the MLB this year. Gavin Williams, the former first-round pick out of East Carolina, will make his second to last start of the regular season. It's been a disappointing year for Williams. He hasn't been bad, but not quite what they were hoping for, as Montgomery rips this one into the gap. That should go for extra bases. Colson Montgomery's hit for solid power this month. His batting average has somehow gotten even lower, but the exit velos are up, the extra base hits are up. 2 away now for Brian Ramos. This ball is launched into right center field, and that one is out of here. 406 feet for Brian Ramos, and the White Sox strike early here in the bottom of the first as it's 2-0. His 22nd of the year, second most home runs on the team if you don't count Kyle Schwarber because, well, he's not on the team anymore. Brian Ramos continuing his strong season, and Chicago is on the board first. Kyle Teal up the middle, base hit. Kyle Teal has nearly 3.5 points of WAR. I know it's been kind of an inconsistent year for him, but if he improves his power, he'll be one of the best catchers in the league as soon as next year. Contact is really solid, defense is elite, But he's got Edgar Quero watching closely from behind. Quero grounds out to second base. Play is made. But not a bad start for the Sox. 2-run homer by Brian Ramos has us up 2-0 early. Josh Naylor leads off the second, and he hits this one well into the opposite field. Kyle Teal playing left today can only watch it fly, as that one scrapes over the wall into the bullpen for a solo shot. The Guardians really big-brained the league with Josh Naylor. They trade him away to Arizona. He signs back a year later, and he has been really good this year, his 32nd of the season. Brady Montgomery has struggled through his first big league games, but he crushes this ball into right field, and that baby is out of here. First career Major League home run for Braden Montgomery, and the White Sox lead it 3-1. This is Montgomery's first at-bat in this building, for what it's worth. His first 3 or 4 games in the majors were all on the road. His debut was in Cleveland. He had a few in Kansas City, but now he's finally home. And in his first at-bat in front of the fans, he launches one into the seats to put Chicago back up by 2 runs. And that ball was launched, no doubter, over the bullpen, nearly 400 feet for Braden Montgomery, as he will get the silent treatment from the bench. And what I love about this photo right here is all the young guys you can see in this frame. Robert, Teal, both of the Montgomerys, Brian Ramos, these are all the young guys who were building this team around. A lot of them are here in the big leagues, including Luis Angel Acuna, who's going fishing. I will say, Acuna's plate discipline since we got him from the trade deadline, I think has been really good. And then Emmanuel Rivera strikes out as well. Not a bad second inning, though. Josh Naylor homers his 32nd of the year, and Braden Montgomery responds with his first. As we move into the third, big Christmas. John Kenzie Noel gets a lump of coal with that strikeout. Stephen Kwan goes down as well. Pretty good start for Noah Schultz. Outside of the homer by Naylor, he's been quite solid as we move bottom 3. Colson Montgomery hits this ball high and deep into center. Back at the track, at the wall, it is caught. That one made it to the track, but Lane Thomas will track it down for the first out of the inning. It'll bring up Luis Robert, who has not had a great month of September. Any chance of him winning the MVP is just about dead, as he strikes out on the cutter. He's now 3rd in the AL in WAR. Julio Rodriguez has had a great month and has passed him. Ryan Ramos strikes out as well, a much better inning for Gavin Williams than what we've seen, as he does not allow a homer this time. He almost did, but he does not. Kevin Newman starts the 4th. That one is down the line and fair. Kyle Teal tracks it down. Teal obviously best defensively behind the plate, but his defense can actually play him in the outfield as well, and with Edgar Quero here as well, that might be helpful for us. Jose Ramirez goes down on the low fastball. Very nice pitch by Noah Schultz. His 3rd punch out of the night. Josh Naylor homered earlier. Schultz is going to be careful with this pitch as it goes outside for ball 4. 2 on now for Cleveland. We'll see if they can bring these guys in. 2 away now. All aboard the Lane train. Lane Thomas in a right center field. He mashes against lefties, and he sure mashed here. It'll be 1 run for now. Naylor looks to score. He is safe. It's a 2-run double for Lane Thomas, and the White Sox bring it within 1. That'll bring up David Fry, another guy who hits lefties really well. And this one is hit sharply into right, and this game will be tied as Braden Montgomery gets to it at the wall. RBI double for David Fry. Every day is Friday for Cleveland, as it is a tie game. That'll bring up John Kenzie Noel now. We're going to keep Schultz in. We trust him to get out of this sticky spot, as it is a weak fly into right. Braden Montgomery will make the play. Good inning, though, for Cleveland. They score 3 as we go bottom 4. Braden Montgomery homered earlier today looking for another. This one gets to the wall, and it is gone! Braden Montgomery does it again! And the lead is short-lived for Cleveland as we are tied at 4. Coming into this game, I think Montgomery's OPS was in the low 400s. Now I think it's above 1,000. Compared to his first homer, that one didn't go as high, but he hit it a little bit harder. 108 exit velo off the bat for Braden Montgomery, whose first 2 home at-bats are both home runs. Luis Angel Acuna keeps the hit parade going. He singles into center. We would not drive him in unfortunately, though, and that will bring us into the 5th. Noah Schultz's day is done. He'll be replaced by Prelander Baroa. Nearly 107 innings pitched, 4.81 ERA. As for Schultz, final line, 4 innings, 4 earned. He looked good early, but it got away from him late, and we are not going to keep him in. With 2 away, Kevin Newman is up, base hit, and was the guy who really started the rally for Cleveland earlier in the game, as this one is hit into left field, his second hit of the game. That goes for a single. And so the Guardians got a runner aboard here with 2 away. That'll bring up J-Ram, Jose Ramirez, who hits this one really high into right center. Luis Robert is under it, and he will make the play. Lubob still without an error this year, the favorite to win the Gold Glove in center field still, and deservedly so. He has been rock solid defensively for us. As good as he's been on offense, you need guys who can be 5-tool players, provide defense, especially in important positions. That's why he's so important to us. Trevor Stephan is in for Gavin Williams. His day is done. 4 innings, 4 earned runs allowed for him as well. Colson Montgomery strikes out. He looked good early, though, with a double in the first, nearly homered in the third. Not quite as good here against Stephan. Luis Robert goes down looking, and Trevor Stephan strikes out a pair. Tied at 4 through 5, as that'll bring us into the 6th. Josh Naylor leads the inning off for Cleveland. He's had a nice night, but he chases the low slider. What a great pitch by Prelander Baroa for the second out. Lane Thomas now up for the Guardians. Drove in 2 his last time up, and he goes down looking on the slider. Prelander Baroa is cooking. 2 innings, only 1 base runner allowed, and no runs scored as we go to the bottom half of the 6th. Brian Ramos leads it off, and Ramos does it again! He sends it into left center field. This baby is way out. 462! A mammoth home run for Ramos, and the White Sox are back ahead. So it's a multi-homer game for both Brian Ramos and Braden Montgomery. Braden's now at 1 and 2, while Ramos hits his 22nd and 23rd homers of the year, and that is enough to remove Trevor Stephan from the game. The Guardians, of course, with one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball. They are without Emmanuel Clase, who is on the IL. Obviously, they wouldn't put him in the game here, but they have to change up their order a little bit with him injured. The lefty Colby Allard is in, former top prospect. Didn't work out for him as a starter, but he's become really good in Cleveland, as they do with just about every pitcher they get. He would get through the 6th as we move into the 7th. Junkenzie Noel draws a walk. 1 out runner here for the Guardians, and that's where we're going to take out Baroa. We were going to take him out after that at bat anyway because they have 2 lefties coming up, so we're going to bring in Kyle Nelson. 4.12 ERA against the catcher, Bo Naylor. On the ground, should be 2. Rivera, Acuna, back to Rivera! 3-6-3, inning-ending double play. Chicago holds on to their lead. We will stretch our legs, and we will go to the bottom of the 7th. Sam Hentges is in for the Guardians, 3.7 ERA. He'll start with Luis Angel Acuna, who is certainly more comfortable against left-handed pitching. Behind the count, though, 1-2. He belts this one, and that will go for a hit. That was an impressive swing because that 12-6 curveball had a lot of movement. It was certainly not in the strike zone, but he still gets it for a base hit. Romeo Sanabria now up for the White Sox, and this one is immediately on the ground. Should be a double play, and it will. Good hustle by both runners, but it's not enough, and the impressive hit by Acuna appears to be all for naught. Or is it? Because we're going to challenge the play. We figure we might as well. It's the 7th inning. Are we going to see it? Hello? No? Okay. We're going to see it here. He's certainly out. So this play would stand, but a good effort from manager Will Venable, as that'll bring you up. Emmanuel Rivera with 2 away. He belts this one into right center field, and that one will waltz its way into the gap. Should go for extra bases as Rivera, who might actually win a Gold Glove himself this year, makes it into second base with a double. The numbers don't pop off the page, but he's been a quality starter for us and a guy who you would think is certainly going to be here for quite some time. We like the production he's given us. Montgomery over to short. Play is made, and the throw to first is in time. Still 5-4 as we go into the 8th inning. We'll see if the back end of the bullpen can look to shut the door for us, as we're going to stick with Kyle Nelson, at least for now, against Steven Kwan, a guy who does not strike out regularly, but he goes down on strikes. Got him looking. Nice pitch by Nelson. That'll bring you up Kevin Newman now. 3-1 ahead in the count as he bloops this one into right. Montgomery cannot get to it. And that is a third base hit for Kevin Newman, who is aboard with one away. Cleveland has given Jose Ramirez base runners today. J-Ram hasn't been very impressive in this game. As he puts it on the ground, Ramos makes the play. Tag second, throw to first, double play. I thought that was going to go for a hit. That was a great scoop on the backhand by Brian Ramos as we go bottom 8. Hunter Gaddis is in for the Guardians, just under 100 innings, ERA at 1.42. He has been pretty good this year. 2 away for Kyle Teal. This one is crushed into right field, and that one goes off the wall. He hit that ball so hard that he can only end up with a single out of it. So Teal is aboard at first base, and that'll bring up Edgar Caro, who's been quiet today, 0 for 3, despite his hot streak. But Caro sends this one into left center. This one will one-hop off the wall. Teal rounds third, heads home. It's an RBI double, and it's 6-4. You thought Edgar Caro wasn't going to get in on the fun? 3 of Caro's last 4 games, he's recorded at least 3 hits. Doesn't do it today, but he does have an RBI double. Brayden Montgomery up the middle. That's his 3rd hit of the game. Caro rounds third, heads to the plate. The throw from Thomas is in time! They got him! And Lane Thomas might have just saved the game for the Guardians. Part-time ball player, full-time sniper, as that brings us into the 9th. Penn Murphy looking for save number 29 on the year. He's blown 11. That is a lot. He does strike out Josh Naylor, though, swinging way too early on the fastball. We'll bring up Jorge Polanco. We thought about signing him in the offseason. He goes down on the sinker. Murphy looking to strike out the side. It comes down to Lane Thomas. Swing and a miss on the fastball. And the White Sox win it 6-4, the first of 3 against the Guardians. And again, Cleveland has everything to play for, so this is a nice win. The young guys really playing well. Brayden Montgomery, 3 for 4, 2 home runs. Brian Ramos, 2 for 4, 2 home runs. Drove in 3. Edgar Caro brings home a run. Colson Montgomery had a hit. Nearly had a homer. Kyle Teal had a hit as well. All of these young guys who we're so excited about all played really well. This is the future. The future is now for us. Noah Schultz looked really good through 3 innings, and then he did not look so good into the 4th. But the bullpen was awesome. And during the game, we got to see some numbers for the bullpen. What I found interesting is that they're second in innings, which really isn't a surprise. We do need our bullpen more than just about anybody. So we are now at 61 wins. We'll see if we can avoid the triple-digit loss threshold. If we go 1-4 or worse, we will have 100 losses. We've got 2 more against Cleveland, 3 against Seattle. The Mariners are now out of the playoff picture, so they're not really playing for anything. Jacob Gonzalez got injured in our first AAA playoff game. I think he's the best player on that team, so that's a little bit concerning. We're down 5-3 here in the bottom of the 9th against Cleveland. Edgar Caro, 3 for 4 with a homer. What a surprise. He continues to mash the ball. Luis Angel Acuna goes down on the splitter. I wish it was Edgar Caro who's up, but we'll gladly take Luis Robert instead. The 1-0 belted down the line. It is fair. That one will roll to the wall. We're going to try to tie the game. Runner rounds third, heads to the plate, and the play is not in time. Corey Julks is safe. 2-run double for Luis Robert. 31st of the year. I believe he is over 110 RBIs on the year as we are tied at 5. Trevor Stephan is in for Cleveland. I know Cade Smith struggled. I'm a little surprised they still took him out there. Brian Ramos looks to be the hero, and he will not. Grounder over to short. Play is made by Cleveland. We are tied at 5 going into extras, and unfortunately, the 2-run double by Luis Robert would not help us win the game. Josh Naylor and Chase DeLauder each bring home runs as the Guardians take this one by the final score of 7-5. Edgar Caro, though, 3 for 5, homer, drove in a pair. I mean, this is a revelation. I certainly did not expect him to be this good, and now you would think Caro has the inside track to get a roster spot out of spring training. Colson Montgomery homered again as well. Love to see it. The AAA Knights only need 2 games to beat the Clippers. So it'll be Jairo Iriarte on the bump for the AAA championship against the Comets. The Birmingham Barons, meanwhile, tied, needing a game 3. I was hoping we would be able to hop into the last game, but it wasn't close. We ended up winning 7-2, so the AA team now has another series on the way. As for the AAA team, they lost against the Comets. I was hoping to hop into this game as well, but again, it was not close. Jairo Iriarte out-dueled by Dustin May. That'll send us to game 162 of the regular season. The White Sox are 62-99. Loss number 100 is on the line, and we're up 3-2. Braden Montgomery, 3 for 3 with a homer, a double, and 2 RBIs. The Mariners have 2 on and nobody out for Nolan Arenado, who flies it into right. Montgomery will make the play. They're going to look to move the tying run 90 feet away from home. We're going to stick it out with Danny Young. He is our high leverage arm as he faces off against Brandon Lau. That one gets by Kyle Teal, and unfortunately, that moves the runner over to second base, which means there's no longer a force out. We can't end the inning with like a double play. Brandon Lau, 3 for 3. He's been good today as he hits it high into left. Jesus Sanchez makes the play. That should be more than enough room to tie the game off the sacrifice as we are knotted up at 3 apiece. A successful sacrifice fly for Brandon Lau. Now the Mariners look to take the lead as that'll bring up Randy Arozarena. Runner goes for third. Arozarena rips this one into the gap, and Seattle is up top 4-3. So the decision to roll with Danny Young does not pay off as Arozarena brings home the run for the Mariners. J.P. Crawford now, Giants franchise legend, grounds it to first. Rivera scoops it up, makes the play. The Mariners, though, score 2. They lead it 4-3. And now we're going to look to win the game here in the bottom of the 9th. We've got the tying run on base. It's Kyle Teal. We have 1 away for Edgar Caro, hitting .333 on the year. He's 1 for 3 with a double, but he hits it high into the air, into the shallow outfield, and Arozarena makes the catch. And the season and the hope to not have 100 losses comes down to another youngster, Braden Montgomery, who's been excellent today. 3 for 3 with a double, a home run, and he's driven in 2 of our 3 runs. Facing off against Gregory Santos, the former White Sox, looking for the save as the first pitch is high for ball number 1. Tying run at first. It's Kyle Teal, the potential winning run at the plate, as Braden Montgomery launches it into right. Lightning strikes twice. A walk-off winner in game 162. Braden Montgomery, his second homer of the game, wins it for Chicago. The future, as I said earlier, is now. The youngsters making plays. This has to be the most exciting end to a 99-loss season I have ever seen. Yet it feels like for the first time in a while, there's some real hope and optimism with this team. And looking at Braden Montgomery specifically, I wish we got a distance on that homer. That ball was launched. Didn't scrape over the fence. That had to have been at least 450 feet. I mean, he clobbered that. What an end of the year for Braden Montgomery, who I really did not think was going to have a chance to make the opening day roster next year. But now he's probably one of the front runners with how well he has played over the last 2 weeks. I think he hit like .350, obviously the 4 home runs, and his OPS is in like the high 1100s, including the walk-off here in game 162 as he goes 4 for 4 with the 2 home runs to help us finish the year at 63-99. He was not the only Chicago White Sox to go deep today. Luis Robert hit his 40th home run of the season. We had a good game from Noah Schultz, 6 innings, 2 earned. How did Luis Robert get to 40 exactly? Well, he hit numbers 37, 38, and 39 in game 161 against Seattle. So a red-hot end of the year for Lou Bob, who does hit the 40 home runs threshold. And we finished season 2 at 63-99. Obviously not a great record, tied for the second worst in baseball, but that's progress in some sense because we're not the worst. The Nationals were like 9 games below us. Usually it's hard to find positives for a 63-win team, and obviously we have a lot to work on, but I think going into next year for the first time in a while, there's some expectations with this team, not necessarily to grab a playoff spot. I mean, we're in a loaded AL Central with 4 juggernauts, but this team should win some more games next year, especially if Luis Robert is still here. 7.3 WAR. That puts him in 4th in all of Major League Baseball, only behind Jose Ramirez, Ketel Marte, and Julio Rodriguez. He had more than doubled anybody else's WAR on the roster. Kyle Teal finishes at 3.5, 11th in terms of all catchers, and he's only getting better. Brian Ramos was the only other player above 2. Interestingly, Edgar Caro, who I think had like a 0.7 WAR in 4 months of AAA, his WAR was above 1 in 1 month of the majors. And even Braden Montgomery was at 0.7. Those two guys were so impressive for us down the stretch. We had so many different pitchers start games for us. Thorpe and Falter were the only guys in the rotation all year. And this doesn't even include Jonathan Cannon. I wanted to show him here as well, but he's on the injured list in AAA. But I like where we're at in terms of the rotation. We've got a really fun big 3 with Drew Thorpe, Noah Schultz, and Hagen Smith, who we're going to look to build around going forward. I would certainly think Smith and Schultz will make the opening day roster next year. And then we have a second tier of guys behind them with Jagger Haynes, who I thought pitched pretty well for us over the final 5 or 6 games. There's a lot of potential with Jairo Iriarte. And then in the minors, Wilkerman Gonzalez had a great year. Grant Taylor's pretty good. Alexis Cosmo, our second-round pick last year. Interestingly, after Thorpe, the next highest WAR amongst our pitchers was actually Prelander Baroa at 2.1. As a hybrid starter reliever, I thought he was pretty solid, even though the numbers aren't necessarily great. As for the minor leagues, we had some guys certainly play well. 2.9 WAR for Terrell Tatum. His rating will go up a little bit. Colson Montgomery only played half the year in AAA. He would have been the best position player in minor league baseball if we kept him in the minors. He's too good for AAA, but he's not good enough for the majors. I don't get it with him. Jacob Gonzalez, I feel like, is really the star here. Him and Sanabria, who, of course, we brought up for the final month of the year. And there's Edgar Caro, 0.7 WAR, 4 homers, 17 RBIs, hit 236 in AAA, yet he raked in the big leagues. He had 5 or 6 home runs, WAR above 1. I don't get baseball. That's why we love this sport. As for the pitching, Owen White led the way. He was not very good, though, in a month and a half of big league action. Jagger Haynes, as I mentioned, was impressive, and then Iriarte in only 80 innings. 1.47 ERA, 0.92 whip. He's in the same boat as Colson Montgomery in the sense that he's too good for AAA, but he's not good enough for the big leagues. Wilkerman Gonzalez had a great year. He's going to compete for a spot in the rotation next year. I think with the ratings boost that we'll give him in the offseason, he's good enough. Grant Taylor I like as well. I think he's still maybe a year or 2 away from competing, but we could get there with him. And then in terms of AA, Dominic Fletcher had the highest WAR, but the standout for me was Robert Poisson, who quietly had a really good year. His rating's going to go up by a couple points. He'll start next year in AAA and could be a sleeper to watch going forward. There's Braden Montgomery, who obviously had a great end of the year in the big leagues. Oswaldo Escobedo, our first-round draft pick, had an up-and-down season. I'm surprised his contact didn't go up at all. He hit 261. That's pretty respectable. I thought the power was good. The plate skills were good. The defense was really bad, though, and that's kind of what's going to potentially keep him out from a major league spot. We're going to invite him to spring training next year. He'll make his big league debut at some point next year. I don't know exactly when. George Tovar started slow, came along nicely. He's still a ways away from being a big leaguer, though. And then in terms of the pitching, Alexis Cosmo led the way. His first month as a AA player was not great, but he really got better down the stretch. I think he'll probably make his debut towards the end of next season. He'll probably spend most of next year in AAA Charlotte. But nonetheless, there's a lot of talent to like here in the farm system. And as I said, it feels like the future is bright. And with that comes expectations. And with many of these young guys now getting ready to be full-time big leaguers next year, the core is going to be up here. And you'd think we should win some more games. And that starts with a pivotal offseason, including multiple spins of the offseason wheel. I'm going to make some adjustments based off of your guys' feedback. And hopefully we get a little more luck than last year. Hope everyone enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are ready for the offseason and international free agency as well. I forgot to mention, I do think there's going to be international free agency in the next episode. If you have not submitted a prospect and you want to, make sure to go join the Discord and submit your prospect ASAP if there's any chance for him to get into this cycle. If not, we'll probably see him in a future season. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Peace out.